Welcome to Architects of Opportunities, a series on founders of nonprofit organizations. We will look at how one person or a few people saw a need in your community and found a way to fill it. Who are the people that are inspired to see a need and bring others together to lend a hand, and not for profit? They are the nonprofit founders. Founders are everyday heroes. They envision possibility and persevere to accomplish it. Founders in all sectors and across the country share a common vision. They want to make a difference. Today, we will introduce you to one organization who makes a contribution to your community. Well, thank you very much for being here. We're so excited to have you, and this is such a great organization. And would you introduce yourself so that we get it right? So, Diane?
I'm Sally Ann Wilson, and I am on the board of directors of SEI. And I've been here, I think, about almost a decade, and that's getting to be very long. But it's just been a wonderful, wonderful adventure.
And I'm Cyan Dandridge. I'm the Executive Director of Strategic Energy Innovations and the Director of the Marin School of Environmental Leadership.
And I'm Natalia Fernandez, and I'm a student of the Marin School of Environmental Leadership.
Let's start with you. And talk about how you got to do that and what part of that plays with SEI.
So when I first decided to do Marin Cell, I remember Cyan came to Miller Creek Middle School and was talking to me about it in my science class, and I thought it was an interesting program that I've never really heard about before, and I was like, I think I could see myself doing that program, and so I applied late, actually. I remember I was I applied late to it, but I got in, and I was really excited, and it's been amazing. I love it.
Natalia, when we first talked, you were nervous about coming in because you really wanted to be a veterinarian.
Yeah, that's true. I love the environment, and I was really interested in it, but in middle school I really wanted to be a veterinarian, and I was like, I don't know if this program would help me, but it sounds really interesting. And so I was kind of on the fence, and I think that's why I applied late. But I'm so happy I did it. I don't want to be a veterinarian anymore, but I'm still glad that I did the program. So.
What do you do? What does your program work on? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so a lot of the lessons that we do in class are based around the environment. So like when we did world geography, we looked at the different things that would affect the environment and like how we could kind of work off of it. And for like history, when we learned about like World War II and things like that, we kind of focused on the effects of that and how it affected like beaches and land and things like that. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I would think that would tie into your love of animals too, how the environment affects our animal population globally.
Yeah, definitely. It affects everything. It affects you and I and everything around it. So.
Where did you do your internship?
Marin Organic.
Oh, and what was that about?
So what I did personally with Marin Organic is we created a educational program. So we went to elementary schools around Marin County. We talked to them about conventional farming versus organic farming and different things like that. And so we tried to teach them like, where does your food come from? Like, what do the animals eat? How long are they out in like the land and things like that. So,
what did you do your freshman year when you first came in?
My freshman year, we tried to work on getting plastic water bottles banned from our high school, and it's still something that we need to work on, but we kind of got the idea into their heads, so we went around and we talked about like how it's bad for the environment and what it does to our health, and like the BPA, that's like obviously not good for you, and I think I can't really remember what I did personally, but I know that like one of my peers made like this sculpture out of water bottles of like one big water bottle, and like we just got that from like 2 recycling bins.
Oh, wow.
So like that's how much people were actually drinking out of it instead of using like reusable water bottles. And we just tried to get them aware of like obviously it's not good for you or the environment. So and this year we got a reusable like water bottle filling station at one of the water fountains. So we're trying to keep doing that and hopefully get one that filters water. They don't really think it's that big of a necessity right now. I personally do think it is, but we're still working on it. So.
How many students work on environmental activities in your school?
Within MCEL or all of them?
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
And,
we all have our own different projects.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
And where do you see yourself going?
Well, I'm a senior, and so I just got accepted into Sacramento State, so I'll be going there this fall.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not really doing anything with the environment. I'm actually studying criminal justice, but I mean, MCEL isn't really just about the environment, it's also about leadership, and I think that's really helped me too. I've definitely become a bigger leader, I think, and freshman year I would never be sitting here talking to you right now, and so it's definitely helped me. Like, I actually feel comfortable here, like, speaking to you guys. So
Tell us a little bit about how you created that, and then I want to ask you about how you brought this organization to be. What was that initial thought that you had?
The original thought for Marin School of Environmental Leadership was really my own children. I have 2 sons. One of them is a junior in the program. And as I was looking when he was in 6th grade into what was available in terms of public education, what I really wanted to see was something unique and different. He's a pretty unique, different kid, has lots of, really likes to dive into projects and likes to do things, very smart, but doesn't always get super engaged in traditional classroom experiences. So I really wanted to find something that was different, and there wasn't a lot available. There was the Marin School of the Arts. He wasn't really an artist, so I knew he would not end up in that direction. I went to the Putney School in Putney, Vermont, and wanted to bring that experience into my children's education. And so I did what any normal parent would do and started school. So that was really the original impetus. When I started to talk with other parents about it, and my husband was really engaged, we had several families that just jumped in full bore, had the same kinds of thoughts, really wanted to have their students go into a traditional public education, but not really traditional. Wanted to bring something really different and unique to their education, and so it just snowballed. We thought we would start it within 3 or 4 years, and it ended up starting within a year. Got incredible support from the school district and Lars Christensen, the principal. When we walked into his office, our original concept was a charter school, and he said, "Why don't you just start it here?" And really opened up a lot of doors for us, and made it possible. The community stepped forward and really supported with money and all kinds of other resources. So it's a very community-based school. There's a lot of community activity. The projects that Natalia was talking about, we have community members that come in and actually assist with all the projects. It's changed since Natalia was a freshman, so that now we have any given time 6 different projects running in both the freshman and the sophomore years, and they're doing things like there's an electric vehicle charging station now at Point Reyes National Seashore, and that was a group of freshmen that wrote $12,000 in grants and worked with the Transportation Authority and the County of Marin and the park and the charging station, and were able to get that installed. They just installed 2 new bus routes with TAM, where they were able, through a pilot phase, they had standing room only on a pilot bus route, and so now they've convinced the Transportation Authority to put in 2 new bus routes. So they've picked up over 1,000 pounds of trash out of Gallinas Creek. They do amazing work. They're, I think, one of the things that people don't really understand and realize is the power of youth. People talk about it, but they don't really understand how much these amazing people can accomplish. They can do anything they set their minds to. I mean, they really are phenomenal human beings, and if you can give them the outlet and give them the opportunity, and a lot of foundational work like Toastmasters, they can just accomplish so many amazing things. And that's what Morrissey does, is that we give them Toastmasters, we bring in a lot of mentors, we have a mentor program, we have amazing teachers that we train in project-based learning and design thinking and all kinds of non-traditional educational methods. We have people that come in and teach them marketing skills and presentation skills, all kinds of different things in order to give them a different kind of education. We focus actually on the 4 C's of 21st century skills, so communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. And they assess themselves, they assess each other, teachers assess them. It's built into the syllabus of all of the different curriculum that we offer. And so it's as they emerge as human beings, as into the out of the high school world and into the next phase of their lives, they are so over prepared for whatever it is that life can throw at them. And one of the things I always say is we never know what kind of challenges we're going to face as we progress into increased climate change and increased environmental impacts. So we can't teach them exactly, we can't do the traditional education model of, okay, read this, memorize it, and then there's your answer. That doesn't work. They need to be able to learn and think differently to be able to solve these problems. It's a very popular program at this point. They have to fill out a fairly rigorous application. Their parents have to fill out a fairly rigorous application, and they come in for a half day with us and go through all kinds of different activities, team activities, individual activities, one-on-one interviews. They have to do some writing, and from there we have a tool that we use that kind of gives a rating system for everything that they do, and there's multiple people giving that rating, and it comes up with a rating of each student that goes through, and then that's how they're selected to be in the program.
And the school range is from what grade to what grade?
9 through 12.
9 through 12. I wanted to have you again talk a little bit about your working with these kids as you gauge them or approve of them for the program.
Sure. There were many more students who want to get into the program now than there are slots for. So it was quite competitive. They submit applications, they have interviews, they meet together as a group and with the students who are currently enrolled. And the quality of the people that came before me when I was interviewing was so high, it was almost impossible to try to differentiate. And how do you make the decision? I kind of felt like what it must be like to be in college admissions, and it's really a very daunting process because it's very serious in terms of the future of these kids, because you really want them all to be able to benefit.
It's not the traditional education model. So if there's some students that thrive in that traditional education model where they're able to go home and absorb information by reading it, and then they come back into the classroom and they talk about it and they write it out and they are graded on it, and that's fine. That's a great model for some students. For some students, they really want to engage with their learning, and they really want to be very hands-on and apply what they're learning immediately, and that's how they excel. And that's the kind of student that goes into Morrissey and is successful in Morrissey. There's a lot of teamwork. There's almost all of their work that they do in one particular class, their project work, is in teams. Mm-hmm. If there's a student that really does not excel at working in a team and really struggles, it could be detrimental for the whole team, and so we have to always be aware of that. I think that there's aspects of Morrissey that should be in every part of public education, but Morrissey itself is a really amazing program for a lot of students, but not for everybody. So that's to answer that part of the question. But our plans for the future, as interest grows, we have our eye to expanding within Terra Linda High School and having 2 cohorts, basically, so 2 classes per grade rather than 1 class per grade. And we definitely can see that in the future. I don't want to grow too quickly. I think it's important for us to make sure that we really get it and really have an amazing, great program with what we have. So we won't grow next year and probably not the following year, but I could see potentially in 2 years that it would be
Wonderful.
double our size.
And Syed, this is one part of your program, and the original thought for starting SEI, I don't know if it was even named that initially, but you were sitting around somewhere thinking, talking with someone. Can you remember back how that, can you talk about that?
So I went to MIT in building technology, which is energy efficiency in buildings. I went from there into the Environmental Protection Agency and actually designed a lot of the original Energy Star programs. And so from there I have this very strong engineering technical background, and then I had this very high-level policy level where I wasn't really seeing things get done and things happen. I had gone back to MIT to graduate school because I really wanted to figure out how could we take all of this great technology that's being developed and actually see it implemented, but in a way that made sense to people. So going from MIT to the EPA was great because then I was being able to start to do that, but I wasn't seeing it happening on the ground. So I was hired to come out to California and run another nonprofit, and as I was working in that nonprofit, I was seeing that cities and school districts and affordable housing organizations had a lot of desire to do something about the environment, but they really didn't understand what they could do or what the possibilities were. And so it was a perfect fit for me to see, I have all this great technical information, I have this desire, and I actually have a pretty strong business background, so I could figure out how to translate that to some of these organizations. And so I founded SEI. That was the original concept, was how can we help communities, and communities are very broadly defined for us, how can we help communities engage in climate protection? How can we translate what is happening in the world with climate protection, with climate change, and how can we help them to see what they're already doing to adjust it so that they can actually be responding to the climate crisis.
Wow, big dreams, and you've done that. And so you had this idea, and who did you take it to?
Well, the original idea started big. It was obviously very big, but my plan was to actually have just a really small organization where I could have a couple of different employees and we'd have a very small footprint but big impact. And so we, right as we were starting, we wrote a couple grants and got them, which was fantastic. And I think it was primarily through relationships. Because of my work at EPA, because of my work at this other organization, I was able to continue the work with some of those organizations and talk to them about this new concept, and they were incredibly supportive and just right out of the gate gave us funding to make it happen, and a significant amount of funding, so we started with 4 employees.
Fantastic. Yeah. And how did you get your board members?
With lunch.
Great lunches.
One of the things that Sally Ann mentioned or talked about is I have a really amazing team here. I have just fabulous directors. I have amazing middle management managers and project coordinators, and I have a lot of really great fellows that work here. My role here is visionary, it's manager, it's networker, it's support. We're marketing more now to for-profit organizations as well, primarily with the purpose that we really want to see more sustainability. And some of these cities are hiring the people, and they don't need another Climate Corps member because they now have full-time staff, which is a huge success for us. That's a great, Sonoma Water Agency, I think, is one of the organizations that just did that. They just hired on their Climate Corps member, and they've said, thank you so much for providing us with this opening. I mean, they did not have a position before. We were able to show them the value of having a permanent position within the organization.
Are you at the top of your ideas, or do they just keep popping out of your head?
Oh, they just keep popping out. Are you kidding? So in addition to the work that we've done with Marin School of Environmental Leadership, SEI is working with almost every school district in California. We work throughout California in offering a variety of different kind of education programs. The role that we really like to play is one of that's kind of like a sustainability manager in a school district. So we, for example, helped to have the San Francisco Unified School District adopt policy around energy, water, waste, and transportation. So they actually adopted this past spring that helped to reduce the district's impact on the environment. And we do that we're doing that with a lot of different, Pittsburgh, did it with Dixie, with San Rafael City Schools, so we're doing it with a lot of districts throughout California. In addition, we train a lot of teachers. We've trained hundreds and hundreds of teachers throughout California to offer energy curriculum. A nice example is with the Dixie district, where I've actually trained every teacher in the district to offer at least 3 lessons around energy and energy efficiency and climate protection within their classroom setting. We also establish green teams, so we have a lot of different manuals and things like that, instructional materials around how people can run green teams within their districts, and having the students do significant work so they can implement policy, or they can do energy audits within the district and help to influence policy, or just to make recommendations to the district about how to reduce energy costs and resource costs. And then we also work directly with students, and so we've run summer camps, we've run after-school programs, we've come into the classroom and taught. So really, and then a whole other realm that we work on is around the facilities. So trying to look at how can a district reduce their overall costs, what are the resources available to them, how can they combine an energy, water, and waste project to make it more comprehensive and kind of leverage different resources to be successful. How can they participate in Prop 39 funding that's out there right now that can help them to reduce their energy costs, but make it so that they're not just slapping up a couple light bulbs, but really looking at a long-term sustainable solution. So we're doing a lot of this kind of work. We have amazing amount of curriculum on our website that's for sale for different schools and districts, and in most of California now is actually free, paid for through the utilities. So it's just a lot of different really amazing work that we're able to do, and that really we're the support team that helps schools accomplish what they want to do but don't really know how. They just need that little extra step, almost the permission. Yes, this is possible. Yes, go ahead and do it. And here's some guidelines for you. Here's curriculum if you need it. But just go and do it and help these students participate and be what they can be.
So we're about to close, and I wanted to say that in my years in the nonprofit world here in Marin, your name would float by, but I did really not know how much you do and the impact that you make. And we'd like to change that for our neighbors and community. And I know that you do some of it, but what do people need to know? What can we do to support our neighbors knowing how much you contribute, SEI contributes to our community? It's fantastic, Cyan.
Well, thank you. I mean, I guess part of the answer is that's never really been important to me, which is probably why it doesn't
Good answer.
Get out that much. The kind of services that we offer, the kind of work that we do is not directed to individuals. Individuals benefit. understanding, helping cities and helping school districts and helping schools understand what we do is really important to us, so that we can help them and so that we can provide them with these kinds of services. And so within that, I think the benefit that we could get from participation, certainly the Marin School of Environmental Leadership, the more participation we have from the community, the better. We need a lot. It makes a village to make that program work. It takes a lot of people, a lot of money, a lot of individual donations. We are always happy to take people's money to help with that school, because it's completely, there's no, I think we have a couple of very small foundation grants to support the school. It's all grassroots funding that helps. And then just, as people see things that are happening and ideas, I always like talking with people and kind of generating new ideas. Other nonprofit organizations, we partner a lot. That's how we are successful. We're only 15 people, so we're a very small organization. We have a huge impact.
You have a huge impact.
And we do it because of our partnerships. We have a lot of really fantastic organizations that we work with. And that's the only way we can do it.
Well, congratulations for all you do, and thank you so much for sharing that with us and sharing it with our audience, and we'll be back.
Okay,
Good,
thank you. Yeah,
good.
thanks for
Tell
doing
people
this.
about
It's great.
us.
Yeah.
I help nonprofits hire staff and leaders to carry on their founder's vision. And so I've seen hundreds of nonprofits contribute to our community. We created Architects of Opportunities to share that with you. Now, nonprofit founders will tell you they don't do it alone. If you're among the 25% of us who are volunteers or volunteer board members or staff or donors, thank you. And if you're not, please join us in making a difference.